This is what hard work look like. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to everybody that support the team.
Ryan Garcia is no stranger to controversy, but this time, it's not just about his words or social media antics. His highly anticipated fight against Rukiya Anpo at the RIZIN year-end event was cancelled due to a last-minute injury. Fans were furious, Anpo was livid, and speculation ran wild. Was Garcia truly injured, or was he just avoiding a tough opponent? And with Saudi Arabia reshaping boxing's future, could this drama lead to an even bigger showdown? Let's break it all down.
Missing weight, alcohol and incomplete, lack of professionalism, no sportsmanship, no respect. Yet he dares to call himself king.
Ryan Garcia vs Rukiya Anpo was supposed to be a spectacle, an explosive crossover clash that had the fight world buzzing. The stakes were high, the build-up was intense, and both fighters had everything to prove. Garcia, the flashy and unpredictable boxing star, was stepping into Anpo's world of kickboxing and MMA, a bold move that excited fans across different combat sports. Anpo, a relentless warrior with sharp striking skills, saw this as his moment to shine on a global stage, proving that kickboxers could hang with elite boxers.
Hey guys, we're back at it. Let's get it.
The hype was real, fans counted down the days, debates raged on social media, and analysts broke down every possible outcome. But just when anticipation reached its peak, everything came crashing down. Garcia pulled out of the fight, citing a serious hand injury. The announcement spread like wildfire, and the reaction was instant and brutal. Social media erupted with frustration, skepticism, and outright disappointment. Some fans sympathized, knowing injuries were a brutal reality of the sport. Others weren't convinced. To them, this was yet another chapter in what they saw as Garcia's unpredictable and at times chaotic career. Some accused him of lacking commitment, questioning whether he was ever serious about the fight in the first place.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
I don't even know who this guy is. Fuck you, how about that?
The backlash wasn't just from fans, fighters, analysts, and even casual observers weighed in, with many casting doubt on the timing and reasoning behind his withdrawal. Anpo, never one to shy away from confrontation, responded swiftly. He didn't just accept the situation, he made sure the world knew exactly how he felt. The Japanese kickboxing star had poured everything into this fight, months of preparation, hours of grueling training, and an unshakable belief that he would make a statement against Garcia. To have it all ripped away at the last second? It was infuriating, and Anpo wasn't about to stay silent. He openly called out Garcia, questioning his professionalism, his toughness, and even his heart. In his eyes, this wasn't just an injury, it was an excuse. His words ignited even more debate. Was Garcia truly injured, or was he hesitant to face a dangerous striker like Anpo? The frustration from Anpo's camp was palpable, but instead of letting the situation derail him, he found a way to keep himself in the spotlight. Rather than allowing the cancellation to define the event, Anpo stepped up for a last-minute exhibition match against Sina Kian. It wasn't the fight fans had originally wanted, but it was still a spectacle in its own right. The match turned chaotic, unorthodox, scrappy, and at times downright bizarre.
I'll break this whole thing right now. That's how I'm firing. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm strong. Strong.
Even the referee took accidental blows in the heat of the action. When the dust settled, Anpo secured a unanimous decision victory, but the real story wasn't the fight itself, it was the conversation it sparked. Fans couldn't help but wonder, what would have happened if this were Garcia instead of Kian? Would Garcia's boxing skill have overwhelmed Anpo, or would the kickboxer's relentless pressure have broken him? The what-ifs only added to the controversy. Meanwhile, Garcia finally broke his silence. Speaking directly to fans during the RIZIN Decade broadcast, he explained the severity of his injury, revealing that he required wrist surgery. He apologized for the situation, acknowledging the disappointment but standing firm that this wasn't an excuse, it was a necessity. he reassured fans that the fight with Anpo wasn't dead, it was merely delayed, and when it did happen, he promised to make Anpo eat his words. It was classic Garcia, brash, defiant, and confident. But was it enough to win back the trust of those who had already moved on? The timing of Garcia's injury couldn't have come at a worse moment. His career was already in a precarious position. Just months earlier, he had secured what should have been a career-defining victory over Devin Haney.
Like that, to watch this man. Well, actually, I came to watch Manny Pacquiao. I don't even know who this guy is. But I'm just happy that, I'm working with RIZIN, fanmio for this amazing event. I know it's going to be...
Only for it to be overshadowed by a failed drug test that led to the result being overturned. That scandal alone had divided the boxing world. Some believed Garcia had been unfairly targeted, while others saw it as yet another reason to question his discipline. Now, with this injury, doubts about his focus and commitment only grew louder. Was Garcia cursed by bad luck, or was he simply becoming his own worst enemy? Anpo, on the other hand, thrived on the attention. He made sure to keep himself in the conversation, seizing every opportunity to remind fans, and Garcia himself, that he was ready whenever Garcia was. He mocked Garcia's injury, dismissing it as an excuse, and made it clear that when they finally stepped into the ring, there would be no mercy. Whether genuine or simply a tactic to keep the hype alive, Anpo's words ensured that this rivalry wouldn't be forgotten anytime soon. Beyond just Garcia and Anpo, the boxing world itself was undergoing a major transformation. Saudi Arabian chairman Turki Al-Sheikh was rapidly changing the sport, pouring money into securing the biggest fights imaginable. Talks of 5 mega fights were already in motion, including the potential for a Garcia vs Haney rematch. That fight could be Garcia's redemption, a chance to clear his name and prove that his win over Haney wasn't a fluke. But with so much uncertainty surrounding him, would he even make it to that rematch? At the same time, other super fights were in the works: Canelo Alvarez vs Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury vs Anthony Joshua, and Usyk vs Dubois too. These fights weren't just massive for boxing as a whole, they could directly impact Garcia's standing in the sport. In a world where narratives shift quickly, staying relevant is everything.
Let's see, we gotta find out. As for Ryan, do you think he should be doing exhibition matches as he's tried to do since he can't fight professionally? Do you think an exhibition is the right route to go down?
Yeah, it is. He gotta make money somehow, so yeah, but tell him stop cheating. Don't cheat, man. Don't cheat. Ryan too, like I think Ryan's a hell of a fighter, but yeah, I think he should make sure.
If Garcia didn't handle his comeback properly, he could find himself lost in the shuffle, overshadowed by bigger, more consistent names. And then there was Devin Haney. While Garcia dealt with his injury and the fallout from their controversial fight, Haney kept moving forward. He made public appearances in London, reinforcing his position as the WBC super lightweight champion. The Garcia controversy still lingered over him, but he refused to let it define him. Instead, he focused on his own legacy, further solidifying his status as one of the most disciplined fighters of his generation. The contrast between the two fighters was stark. While Garcia's career felt chaotic and unpredictable, Haney's was methodical and steady. So what's next for Garcia? First and foremost, recovery. Surgery is just the beginning. He'll need to rebuild, not just physically, but mentally and reputationally. The road ahead is anything but easy. A rematch with Haney? A rescheduled fight with Anpo? Or will he take an entirely different path, one that surprises everyone? Whatever happens, one thing is certain: he can't afford another misstep. In a sport where momentum is everything, Garcia is at a crossroads. Will he rise from the setback stronger than ever, or will he become another cautionary tale of wasted potential? Instead of dwelling on the disappointment of losing out on the biggest fight of his career, Rukiya Anpo wasted no time in turning the situation to his advantage.
Came all out here for nothing, huh? You ducking it, huh? Lupe, you done ducked it, huh? Yeah, you done ducked it. Yeah, y'all.
With Garcia sidelined, Anpo wasn't about to let all his training go to waste. He quickly agreed to an exhibition match against Sina Kian, a last-minute replacement who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. But what was supposed to be a simple stand-in fight turned into an unpredictable, high-energy spectacle that no one could have predicted. From the opening bell, the match was pure chaos. The energy in the arena was electric, fueled by a crowd eager to see Anpo in action, even if it wasn't against Garcia. The fight started aggressively, with Kian determined to make a name for himself. He came forward fearlessly, throwing wild, unorthodox strikes, hoping to catch Anpo off guard. But Anpo, a master technician in the art of striking, adjusted quickly. He showcased his signature precision, dodging Kian's unpredictable attacks and landing crisp counterstrikes. Then, things took an unexpected turn. In the heat of the exchanges, the match spiraled out of control. Kian, in a desperate attempt to shift momentum, swung wildly and missed, but his follow-through clipped the referee, sending shockwaves through the arena. The official, caught completely off guard, stumbled back, momentarily halting the fight. Gasps filled the venue as security and officials rushed in to check on him. But instead of stopping the action entirely, the referee shook it off, signaled for the fight to continue, and the mayhem resumed. Anpo, unfazed by the bizarre moment, went right back to business. He began to break Kian down with a relentless attack, using sharp combinations and well-timed body shots to sap his opponent's energy. By the final round, Kian was visibly exhausted, struggling to keep up with Anpo's pace. When the final bell rang, there was no doubt who had won. Anpo's hand was raised in victory via unanimous decision, proving that despite the unexpected opponent and the chaos of the match, he remained dominant. But the fight itself wasn't the biggest takeaway of the night. Instead, it left fans with even more burning questions. If Anpo could handle Kian so decisively, what would he have done to Garcia? The speculation ran wild. Some believed that Garcia's world-class speed and boxing fundamentals would have been too much for Anpo, keeping him at bay and neutralizing his aggressive style. Others argued the opposite, that Anpo's relentless forward pressure and ability to adapt mid-fight would have overwhelmed Garcia, forcing him into deep waters he wasn't used to. Social media exploded with debates. Analysts broke down every aspect of the exhibition, trying to imagine how Anpo's performance would have translated against Garcia. Fans dissected footage, comparing their styles and strengths. But at the end of the day, there was no definitive answer, only theories, predictions, and a lingering sense of unfinished business. One thing was undeniable: this rivalry wasn't over. If anything, the tension between Garcia and Anpo had only grown stronger, and the demand for the fight had never been higher. Anpo, never one to back down from a challenge, made sure to keep the conversation alive. In interviews, he continued to call out Garcia, dismissing his injury and accusing him of running from the fight. He played into the skepticism surrounding Garcia, fueling the narrative that the withdrawal wasn't just about an injury, it was fear. Whether he truly believed it or was simply using mind games to get under Garcia's skin, the effect was the same. Fans were now more invested than ever in seeing them settle their differences in the ring. Meanwhile, Garcia, recovering from surgery, had to watch as the narrative slipped further from his control. His absence only gave more fuel to his critics. He had promised to return stronger and prove everyone wrong, but until he stepped back into the ring, the doubts would continue to linger. The longer he stayed inactive, the more momentum Anpo gained. And in a sport where perception is everything, Garcia couldn't afford to let this rivalry fade away without a resolution. For days, Garcia remained silent, allowing speculation to spread like wildfire. Every hour that passed without a response only fueled the debate. Was his injury legitimate, or was it just an excuse to avoid a dangerous fight? Social media was relentless. Fans, analysts, and even other fighters weighed in, some defending Garcia's record and dedication, while others accused him of lacking the mental toughness needed to compete at the highest level. The narrative was slipping out of his hands, and the longer he stayed quiet, the harder it would be to regain control. Then, during the highly anticipated RIZIN Decade broadcast, Garcia finally broke his silence. Sitting under the bright lights, with millions watching, he addressed the controversy head-on. He confirmed what his team had been saying all along: his injury was real, and it wasn't something he could fight through. His wrist had suffered significant damage, requiring surgery, and competing against Anpo in that condition wasn't just risky, it was impossible. Garcia acknowledged the frustration his withdrawal had caused. He admitted that fans had every right to be disappointed, but he made one thing clear: this was not him running away. "I had no choice," he stated firmly. "Fighting injured wouldn't have been fair to the fans, to Anpo, or to myself." His words were measured, calculated, but then his tone shifted. The frustration in his voice was unmistakable. He wasn't just addressing the doubters, he was responding directly to Anpo. And then came the moment that changed everything. "I'll make Anpo eat his words." That single sentence reignited the fire. It wasn't just a statement, it was a challenge, a promise, and maybe even a warning. The tension that had been simmering between the two fighters exploded back into the spotlight. Was Garcia truly committed to this fight? Would he finally follow through? Or was this just another bold claim with no real action behind it? For Garcia, this wasn't just about one fight, it was about his entire career. His journey in boxing had been anything but smooth. He had experienced incredible highs, like his shocking victory over Devin Haney in April, a moment that should have cemented his status among the sport's elite. But that triumph was short-lived. The win, which should have been the defining moment of his career, was overshadowed by controversy when he failed a drug test. In a stunning reversal, his victory was stripped away, and instead of being celebrated, he was left battling accusations and doubts about his integrity. The fallout from the drug test scandal was massive. Critics questioned whether his win over Haney had been legitimate. Some called him a cheater. Others speculated that the pressure of the sport had gotten to him, leading him to make desperate decisions. Garcia had always been a polarizing figure, but this incident pushed public opinion to its extremes. His supporters remained loyal, insisting that he was still one of the most talented fighters of his generation, but his skeptics were louder than ever. Now, with another setback due to injury, those same doubts were creeping back. Was Garcia truly focused on boxing? Was his heart still in it? Or was he slowly drifting away from the sport, unable to handle the pressure that came with being a star? His career had become a roller coaster of incredible potential and frustrating delays. Every time he seemed on the verge of greatness, something pulled him back: controversy, distractions, injuries. The questions surrounding him were growing louder. Some fans still believed in his talent, convinced that when he was fully healthy, he could beat anyone. They pointed to his speed, his reflexes, his ability to change a fight in an instant. Others, however, were starting to lose faith. They saw a pattern forming: missed opportunities, wasted potential, a fighter who couldn't stay out of his own way. And then there was Anpo. While Garcia was sidelined, Anpo was capitalizing on every opportunity to keep his name in the headlines. He wasn't just sitting back and waiting, he was actively stoking the flames of their rivalry. His interviews were filled with sharp words, subtle digs, and sometimes, outright mockery. He questioned Garcia's dedication, his toughness, even his love for the sport. The more Garcia stayed quiet, the more Anpo's words gained weight. Garcia's response at RIZIN Decade was meant to shut down the critics, but words alone wouldn't be enough. If he wanted to prove he was still one of the best, he had to do it in the ring. The fight with Anpo wasn't just another matchup, it had become personal. It was about pride, about reputation, about proving who truly belonged at the top. But could Garcia really afford to take this fight next? Or did he need to rebuild first? With Saudi Arabia's growing influence in boxing, new opportunities were emerging. Chairman Turki Alashik was shaping the sport's future, orchestrating mega fights that could redefine careers. A Garcia vs. Haney rematch was rumored to be in the works, a chance for Garcia to clear his name and reclaim what was taken from him. If that fight became a reality, it could be the key to restoring his credibility. Still, the Anpo situation wasn't going away. The rivalry had taken on a life of its own, and every day that passed without a resolution only added to the tension. The fight wasn't just a possibility, it was an inevitability. Garcia had made a promise. Now, he had to prove he was capable of keeping it. While Garcia focused on recovery, Anpo stayed in the spotlight. He didn't let the cancelled fight slow him down. Instead, he capitalized on the moment, using it to build his brand and keep his name relevant. His exhibition match may not have been against Garcia, but it kept him active and sharp. And he didn't stop there. Anpo made it clear that he still wanted the fight, and he wasn't done mocking Garcia. His confidence remained unshaken. If anything, Garcia's absence only made Anpo more eager to prove a point. Beyond the Garcia-Anpo drama, there's a bigger picture forming in boxing. Saudi Arabian chairman Turki Alashik is changing the sports landscape, organizing some of the biggest fights in history. And Garcia? He's part of those plans. Alashik is reportedly working on 5 massive fights, one of which could be a Devin Haney vs. Ryan Garcia rematch. If true, this could be Garcia's ticket to redemption. A second chance against Haney would give him the opportunity to clear his name and prove that his initial victory wasn't a fluke. But is he ready? While Garcia figures out his next move, the boxing world isn't slowing down. Mega fights are in the works: Canelo Alvarez vs. Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury vs. Anthony Joshua, and a rematch between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. These matchups will shape the sport's future, and Garcia needs to find a way to stay relevant amid these seismic shifts. If he doesn't act fast, he risks being overshadowed by the next generation of fighters. Meanwhile, Devin Haney is staying laser-focused on his own career. While Garcia deals with injuries and controversy, Haney has been making public appearances, most recently in London, reminding everyone that he is still the reigning WBC super lightweight champion. but the controversy surrounding the overturned Garcia fight still lingers. It's a cloud that follows both fighters, and until they meet again in the ring, the debate over that result won't fade away. So where does Garcia go from here? First, recovery. His wrist surgery means time off, but once he's healed, the pressure will be immense. Does he reschedule the fight with Anpo and settle their unfinished business, or does he take the Haney rematch and fight for redemption? One thing is certain, Garcia's next move will define his career. He's at a crossroads. Will he silence the doubters and reclaim his place among boxing's elite, or will he fade into the background as new stars rise? Whatever happens, the drama isn't over, not by a long shot. For more explosive boxing news, don't forget to subscribe to Boxing Is Here and hit that notification bell. See you in the next video.